All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Still kind of letting people in here, so just give me just a second as people keep logging on. Wonderful. Again, good morning, everybody. This is the second annual Employer Engagement Forum that our office is put on, and we're excited to connect with you all again. Um, so my name is Kevin Fortune. I'm the director for the Office of Career Development here at South Dakota State University. You're going to hear from a couple of our staff members and a couple other folks actually from campus as well throughout this meeting. So what I wanted to do initially as we uh, kind of got rolling is really just make sure everybody has a good sense of what our office is up to and what we have going on. So our of Career Development, we are located in the Student Union here on campus, which is a great centralized location for us. And this is our team. So we have, of course, me as the director, Becky Pastolka and Jordan Feist are probably folk names that you're familiar with. Those are our two employer engagement folks in our office. And then on the career ed side, we have Steve, Aaron Peterson, Megan Kelly, and Brittany Domino. And those four are primarily responsible for getting into the classroom, doing class presentations, and also individual appointments with students. So, like I said, we're in the student union here. If you are curious about how to stay in touch with us, obviously you figured out how to log on to this meeting today, so you have a good sense of how to how to contact us. But I wanted to make sure you had all of our other information as well. So if you're interested in Instagram, Facebook, those kinds of things, here is some of that information. All right, great. Lots of folks rolling in today. This is good. So when I talk about individual appointments with students, this is what I mean. So we do major and career exploration appointments with students. We do document reviews, so it's resume reviews, cover letter editing, those types of things. We also do interview skills. We do interview preparation. We do mock interviews. Um, Really, any kind of preparation in terms of public speaking or interview prep in that space. We do a lot of that work with students. Grad school application preparation. So those personal statements, we dive in with students and give them some focused feedback on that and that whole process. And then of course, job internship search strategies and help students navigate Handshake, but also other job boards and different ideas on how to search for different roles. In our office, we have a selfie station, so students can actually come in and get a professional photo of themselves if they want to have a better picture on their LinkedIn profile or any other sort of social media profiles that they're working with. And we have a professional clothing closet as well. And we added that a couple of years ago, and it's really been used quite a bit by students. And it's nice to have that opportunity for students to um, grab some professional clothing item for free if they need it for a career fair or an interview, anything like that. All right, so it looks like people are really, I think we've got most of our folks joined in. If you don't mind, we would love to know where you're all coming from. So in the chat, if you could just share company you're with, maybe city, maybe state, if you're not in South Dakota, your name, of course, that'd be all of that information would be really helpful and fun for us to know. All right, just kind of a quick snapshot of our agenda. We're going to do a little career fair review on how this last year went. Uh, Give you a glimpse at a public tableau. We have a lot of employers that ask how many students are enrolled in this major or that major. And we do have a public dashboard that you can have access to. We'll give that link to you in the chat when we kind of show you what that's about. We've got a couple of different sections of live polling. I have some questions I want to talk to you about and just see what you're thinking about a couple of different topics. We'll have a focused presentation on the outs of hiring international students, things to consider in that space. So hopefully that information is helpful for you all because there's been a lot of changes or perceived changes in that this last year or so. We'll touch base on opportunities for engaging with talent on campus, how to connect with us, those kinds of things. A preview of the career fair schedule for next fall. And then we'll talk to you about our Employer Partners program. We're getting ready to launch our second year of that program. And so really looking forward to that as well. All right, so with that, I want to turn it over to Becky Pistolka, who is our Assistant Director of Employer Engagement. A name probably familiar with you, but she's going to take you through our year in review of our career fairs.
Good morning. It's great to see so many familiar faces and names coming up on the chat. Wanted to start out our fall 2025 career fair numbers. Very first one, our part-time fair, we had the second week of school in September. 810 students went through looking for part-time jobs. Most of those are in the Brookings area or here on campus. The engineering fair we did the second week of September. And as you can see, our numbers were pretty good. We had a little over 1,000 students attend. 49% of the total were in attendance, and I feel like that was a really great number for us. 49%, we had a little over 2,000 students. And as Kevin mentioned, we have the public Tableau that we'll be sharing with you so you can go in and actually dive down and see how many mechanical engineering students, how many computer science, those different programs. So that was great. In October, we kicked off our 2-day fair for the cafes, the College of Ag, Food and Environmental Sciences. That 2-day fair brought a little close to 900 students. 43% of the total amount of students who could have attended did. Our management communications fair was in October. We had 305 students, which was 24% of the total amount of students who could attend. Our grad school fair was our first one we'd had in 6 or 7 years. We had 90 students come, and those were undergrad students who were looking to attend graduate school fairs. We had 52 recruiters come from around the United States, and so we felt really good about that number. We ended our fall season with the Psychology, Sociology, and Criminal Justice Fair, which only brought in 52 students. We'll be working with that college in the summer and in the fall to try to garner more students to come in the fall of 2026. So as you can see, the total number of students who attended the fall session was 3,219. We felt really good about that number for fall. A lot of students looking for internships for the following summer and as well as full-time positions. So that kind of concluded our fall of 2025. Next slide, Kevin. Turning to spring of 2026, our engineering fair, as you can see, we didn't have quite as good in numbers. The weather was a little chillier in February, and we had 25% of the total amount of students who could come did come. The Health and Sciences Fair was brand new to us. We had never had one before. We did that one in March. 235 students came to that one, which was 44% of the number of students available. Our Careers in Education, Counseling, and Human Development brought 88 students back to campus. A lot of those students are out doing student teaching, and so they came back to campus to visit, which was 12%. We concluded the spring with our All Majors Fair, had 112 students that attended. Felt pretty good about that. We always, encourage more students to come, but our spring semester ended with a little over 1,000 students that attended the fairs. Next slide, Kevin. He had mentioned our public Tableau. This is something that our Office of Institutional Research and Assessment came up with. This shows enrollment by program for the whole university. And I don't have the ability to show you, but across the top there, you'll see category, then college. So if you were interested in looking at the total number of students who are in attendance in the College of, let's say, engineering, for instance, you could click on that all button, scroll down to the Jerome J. Lohr College of Engineering, and then it would actually tell you how many students are in like mechanical, how many are in computer science. So, and you can do this with all of our departments across campus. So we will, as Kevin just shared that in the chat, you can click on that, bring it up, and it will allow you to see kind of our enrollment numbers over the last 5 years. So I think you'll find that's very helpful. I've had several recruiters that have asked me for that information. So wanted to make sure that you guys had that, were able to view that. If you want to give us your email address, we can send it to you as well. Either way would be great. So those are our numbers from last year's career fairs. I'll come back later and we'll talk about what we plan for fall of 2026.
All right, thanks so much, Becky. All right, live polling part one. I have some questions that I want to take everybody through for our benefit. And bear with me as I get this kind of up and running here. But if you have, I need to hide some of these numbers here. There's so many Zoom windows open, and it's hard for me to see my screen what I'm what I've got going on. If you're in a conference room and can't, click on the link or don't have access to your browser, please use this QR code to scan so you can participate then with the polling here. But first question is, how is AI changing your company? I'm really curious what kinds of words you all are thinking about when I ask that kind of question. Efficient. All right. Writing processes, chatbot, communication, streamlining. Time. All right, great. Automate. All right, wonderful. Yeah. So a lot of these terms are words or things that pop up a lot of times in the AI conversations so I'm not too surprised in what I'm seeing, but the frequency of some of the terms is kind of sort of reinforces some of the narrative too about why AI is taking off, to build efficiency and time processes, streamlining, those kinds of things. All right, great. Next question. Is AI literacy part of your qualifications in hiring? So one of the things South Dakota State's really trying to do is be on the forefront of AI training for students. And so as a university, we're working on different strategies to use in the classroom, different things to research, different ways to engage with AI platforms. So we want to make sure that we're trying to match what employers are really expecting and hoping for in our graduates in terms of the AI specifically. And so, yeah, it's kind of interesting to see responses is no and not yet. Not yet's probably one of the key things to think about. But yeah, it's good to see. Are you doing more skills-based hiring for entry-level roles rather than based on specific college degrees? one of our efforts as we meet with students in the classroom and individually, we talk more and more about skills translation and the ability for students to communicate the skills that they develop here on campus as students, not just because of what a degree signifies, but we want students to be able to actually demonstrate and articulate that. And so this reinforces the point of all that. And so I'm not too surprised to see this, but granted, of course, this with nursing, engineering, those kinds of things, you have to have that degree. We get that for sure. How impactful are our career fairs to your hiring? This is one of those types of things we're really curious about. We know your websites are kind of your primary tool for hiring, but we want to know we have employers coming back every year, so we feel like there's probably some impact there, right? But it's hard to kind of nail down that specific number. Significant, moderate, minimal, no impact. Okay. Anybody that said no impact, I'm curious. It'd be fun to have you reach out to us and maybe we can help you in a different way. You know, if it's not a career fair, maybe it's focused connection with students, tabling in our union, or you're doing something different. We're happy to talk with you about that. So keep that in mind. When you're at our career fairs, what do you think South Dakota State students need to improve the most? At our career fairs or in interviews, attendance, soft skills, pitch, elevate. Okay. First impression, parents. Okay. All right. There's an image for you. And I'll be able to use that image as we meet with faculty and staff as we're talking about what employers say students need to improve the most when we're talking about career readiness. And so I think just seeing that skills term front and center in that is really important visual for us to keep in mind. Thank you. What do you want to see from candidates in addition to resumes? Micro credentials, portfolio, project samples, online. Okay. Samples, good. Projects, okay. Volunteerism, referrals, engagements, good. All right, great. Again, good list of concepts for us to think about, and it'll be helpful in our conversations. Okay, last question I've got for you. Do you hire international students? CPT and OPT only? CPT, OPT, and sponsorship? Nope, not sure. Let us know. All right. Thank you for your responses there. All right, now I want to transition to specifically talking about hiring international students and provide some updated information about that. And in order to do that, the best thing for me to do is to bring in David Huffman, who helps us with a lot of our career fairs and on campus, but he specifically works with international students and is dealing with this information on a daily basis. And so I want to welcome David to our forum at this point.
Good morning, everybody. My name is David Huffman, and I am an international student advisor in the Office of International Student and Scholar Services. So, what we do here is we help our international students with um, maintaining their visa status while they're here and then helping them get work authorizations. Can everybody see my screen? The PowerPoint presentation? Yes. Awesome. Okay. Um, so I'm just going to briefly and quickly try to run through some stuff real quick and then provide you all with an opportunity to ask some questions afterwards because I know that immigration is confusing and stuff like that. So, okay. So first thing to think about is that students, if they work without authorization, it will end up leading to a termination on of their SEVIS record. So SEVIS is the organization, basically the software that we use to track students. And so that is the platform that we use to report that they're registered for classes, that they've changed their address, these kinds of things. So, if a student's CVIS record gets terminated, what that means is they end up losing their legal status inside of the United States, and then they have to decide how they want to move forward, whether that's trying to get that record reinstated or leave the United States, maybe try to come back again later. So when we're looking at employment, first, we need to look at eligibility. So students have to be here for a full academic year before they're eligible for working off campus. So that means like a fall and a spring semester. After they've reached that point, that's when we're looking at CPT. So CPT is geared towards those students who are still registered for classes, who are still doing work on their program. Um, One of the things that they need to make sure that they meet when they're meeting off or working off campus is that the work is related to their degree. So any off-campus employment, whether it's CPT or OPT, has to be related to the degree that they are working on. Um, when we say related, what that means is that there has to be some component of that employment that ties to what they're studying. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be comprehensive and pull from multiple different classes. If there's one class where they're using those skills in that work environment, then that work is related. Um, so the goal is just that they are supposed to be gaining a better understanding of their major and how that works in the real world. When you're hiring international students, you do want to look for work authorization from that student. So for CPT, you're going to be looking at what's called their I-20. It's on the second page of their I-20 where you'll see that listed. When it's OPT or some other kind of work authorization, you're looking for what's called an EAD card. It kind of looks, it's about the size of a driver's license, and it just has their name and it has the dates in which they're authorized to work. So some myths that we often see when it comes to hiring international students. One is that hiring international students is more difficult. It really is not. The only thing that's different really is the I-9 process, and that's just because they have to provide different documentation than a domestic student, an American citizen would have to provide. But that documentation is easy to get. And anytime you have questions, you're always welcome to reach out to us. I have interacted with multiple employers that have had questions about the I-9 process. What are the documents that are required? Those kinds of things. So we're always here to help with that kind of thing. Students cannot volunteer without work authorization. So unless the volunteer is like completely unrelated to their major, so they want to work at the Humane Society, but their major is computer science, that would be okay. But if their major is anything related to the position for which they're volunteering, they really need to get that work authorization first before they do it. And students also don't need to have a social security number in order to start working. In fact, they have to have a job in order to apply for that social security number. So if you're hiring an international student, they don't have that social security number, just know that they can start working before they get that number, and that we will be working with them to help them get that number later. So there's a couple of different types of work authorization. The first is called CPT. So CPT is what they're doing while they're still actively studying, still working on their program. That goes through our office, and so the approval time for that is very, very quick. Usually it takes less than 2 weeks. It may take a little bit longer than that, like if we're talking about the end of the semester, but I always do my best to get them that work authorization before their start date. So, as an example, right now, there's a lot of students that are wanting to start working today or tomorrow, and I will be spending time later today to make sure that I get them that work authorization before that time. But we do ask them to give us as much time as possible on that. When they're working, that employment can be either part-time or full-time. So the part-time designation is 20 hours or less, and then full-time is anything above that. For employer purposes, that's not super important. For the student, though, that is very important because part-time CPT is basically unlimited, but full-time CPT will impact their OPT in the future. So if they end up working a year or more of full-time CPT, that's going to end up canceling out their OPT. So that's something that they are going to be aware of, and it's something for you to be aware of. So a lot of times students will work full-time during the summer, but they're not going to work full time during the semester, simply because they want to make sure that they're not accruing too much full time CPT. For CPT, in order for the student to apply for it, they have to have that job offer first. So I know that last week and a little bit this week, I've been interacting with an employer who was expecting the student to provide that work authorization ahead of time, and so I had to step in and just say, hey, I can't give that work authorization for CPT because he has to have the job offer first, and then once he has that, then we can work on doing that work authorization. There are breaks in between semesters in which students will not be able to be authorized. So the weekend before the spring semester, before the summer semester, and before the fall semester, they will not be able to get work authorizations for that, because it's squarely between two semesters. And with CPT, they're required to be enrolled in a course that is concurrent with that work experience. So in those breaks, there's no way to justify that continued work, but it's only for a weekend. So if somebody had a job authorization or work authorization up to May 8th, which was Friday of last week, the final day of the spring semester, and they put in their request, then they would be able to resume working on May 11th. And so that would not require that the student be fired or anything like that. It would just simply require that that student not report to work those 2 days while they don't have that authorization, and then they can resume again on Monday as long as they have that authorization. OPT is the work authorization that they apply for after they have graduated, or for graduate students who are doing thesis or dissertation. They can apply for OPT after they're done with their coursework, but before they actually graduate. Um, OPT is approved by USCIS, and so there's an application process that they have to go to or go through. There's fees that are associated with that. With a lot of the changes that we've seen recently, those approval times have begun to go up. So last spring, we were seeing approval times for those who applied as soon as they could. They were getting approved within 2.5 and 3 weeks. This semester, those people who have applied as soon as they could, um, most of them are still actually waiting right now for that work authorization. Um, there is something called premium processing that's available. And so if they pay this fee, it will speed up that application, but it is very, very expensive. So the application fee for OPT itself is $470. And if they want to speed up that application with the premium processing, that is an addition to that first fee, and that's $1,780. So students are very reluctant to pay that premium processing, especially if they're still looking or still going through the interview process and things like that. Um, when we're talking to students, we do encourage them to ask employers once they've gotten hired whether the employer will be willing to help with that premium processing fee, depending on that student's situation. There's no obligation there whatsoever. It's just that some employers are willing to help pay for it, some are not. I encourage students with the philosophy of you don't know unless you try. So you might hear a student ask about that, but there is no employer obligation there whatsoever. It's specifically on the student. Um, and then finally, the STEM OPT. This is an additional 2 years of OPT after that first year for specific fields. So ICE releases a list of programs that are eligible for this 2 year extension. So we help with the student to check to make sure that their program is eligible for that. And then if it is, then they can apply for that 2 year extension. One of the requirements for the STEM OPT is that the student is working for an employer that is E-Verify or listed in E-Verify. Most of the time, that's not a problem because it seems like most companies are in the E-Verify system. However, if you're not, from what I understand, that process is very, very simple. And so you can go to the E-Verify website and I have not had any personal experience with this, but from what I understand, it takes about 20 minutes and it's really not very complicated. And then your E-Verify, and then if you have a student who is on OPT and is wanting to continue on with their STEM extension with your company, then they would be able to continue that. OPT or the STEM extension is also has no employer obligation whatsoever in terms of fees or applications or anything like that. The one difference between OPT and STEM OPT is the form I-983. The student does need to get part of that form filled out, usually by HR. Simple questions like who's going to be their supervisor, what is the physical address of the site that they'll be working on, what is the name of the company, how many people work for the company, what's the pay and benefits that come with the position. So nothing complicated at all. So that is usually done by HR, and then the training plan itself, the student needs to work with their supervisor. But again, it does not come with any fees that employers have to pay or any obligation from employers whatsoever. H-1B sponsorship. So one of the things that was mentioned to me in preparation for this meeting is that a lot of employers are afraid of this big $100,000 fee that USCIS announced last year for H-1B visas. So the first thing to be aware of is that fee only applies to those who are outside of the United States. So if your country or your company is still trying to hire somebody from Canada or from Turkey or something like that, and they're still outside of the US, then that fee applies. But for our students who are already inside of the United States, they're already here on an F1 visa, that $100,000 fee does not apply. So the only thing that you're looking at is the normal fees that go with it. The cost varies between about $2,000 to $5,000. I'm not sure exactly how much it costs and how much, or like exactly how that's complicated or calculated. So something that I should have said in advance is that our office does not work with H-1Bs. So that is not my area of specialty. I just wanted to give you guys some basic information about the H-1B visa. If you have questions about that, I may be able to answer those. I may need to refer you to an immigration attorney, because again, that's just something that we do not ourselves work with in our office. But definitely wanted to address that $100,000 fee issue. The H-1B is kind of complicated, so I'm not going to go into it in detail right now. But if you have questions, That is my contact information, so you're welcome to email me, to call me. If you would like a copy of this presentation, I would be more than willing to send that to you. So send me an email and I will respond with that. But that said, does anybody have any questions?
All right. Thanks so much, David. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And again, we can follow up with his slides after this. We'll be sending out a follow-up message to everybody that attended with some of this information too. So we'll definitely be able to get you in touch with David if you have some questions that pop up.
Thank you all. Have a good day.
All right. Moving right along here. I'm going to bring on Jordan Feist. He's our employer engagement coordinator here in our office. He's going to talk with you about a couple of different aspects of what we've got going on. Jordan, want to take it over?
Perfect. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, if you guys don't know me, I'm Jordan Feist, Employer Engagement Coordinator here with the Office of Career Development. So if you do ever want to get on campus or have questions, reach out. It's literally my job. That's what I'm here for. What I'm going to go over with you guys today is just some Handshake job application statistics. Just to show you that students are using it. I feel like we're kind of a broken record sometimes telling you to get on Handshake, post those jobs, make sure you're utilizing it. Well, I wanted to give you some stats from the last academic year that shows what we've been seeing on our end as far as job applications go and everything like that. So looking at what I've got on the screen here, we had just under 2,000 unique students that submitted job applications through Handshake this last academic year. And those are legitimate students. We can see their student ID, email address, name, and all that stuff. So those are actual students that submitted unique applications. We had a total of 16,637 of applications come through, and that maths out to just right around 8 applications per student. Now, some did more, some did less, but that just gives you an idea of how many applications we're seeing come through Handshake as a whole that way. So almost 17,000 applications did come through. So that is a ton of applications coming in. If you aren't posting your jobs on Handshake, that's a big audience that you're just missing out on. Keeping those jobs updated on there really will get it in front of students better that way. So it's something, again, that we really harp on a lot. We push it to students all the time. We push it to staff and faculty. So it's something, Handshake's not going anywhere on our end. This is a ton of different unique students that are coming through and everything. So it's definitely worth your time to post those jobs, get them on there, keep them updated. If you ever have questions on, hey, can you help me tune this job description? How can I post a job? How can I better utilize it? That's what we're here for. Feel free to reach out. But it's definitely being utilized by our students. So we want to make sure that you guys are getting your bang for your buck out of it too that way. But on the other side of the screen there, you can see I actually broke it down by job applications per month. So you can see kind of the ebb and flow throughout the semester of when students are applying, how many are applying. So we have just over 2,000 sitting there at the start of the semester in September. And then you can see it just kind of tailors off until we hit December. And at that point, that's Christmas break. Students are pretty tuned out. Finals are done. They're just looking to get home and do nothing for a little while. So that makes sense why that dropped so low. But then we see it spike up actually higher in January than it was at the start of the fall semester. So you can see we're up above 3,000 job applications in January. So something else we hear a lot is that, students really aren't looking in the spring, or that, all the hiring needs to happen in the fall. Well, that shows that we have a ton of students that actually are looking maybe more when it comes to the springtime and putting those job applications in. And then we see kind of one more jump in March. Those are the students that are kind of going, oh crap, I need a summer job, I need an internship. And you can see them really starting to apply again there. And then as the semester winds down, it ends. So I just thought that was some interesting information to kind of see how it goes over the course of the semester as far as job applications come in and out on our end. So if you have any specific questions, I think I saw a couple come through in chat. Make sure we'll try to answer them. We'll try to get your contact information and send it out to you. We have a ton of different stats that we can look at. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick snapshot to show you that, hey, students really are using Handshake, and it's 100% worth your time to get on there and get those jobs posted. So you can go to the next slide, Kevin. And now this is something that I've went over before, and something that I'm sure a lot of you have seen already. But I just wanted to put it out there again. Now, we do want you to all our career fairs. We want you on campus as much as we can get you that way. So this is our talent engagement menu for outside of the career fairs. So if you're looking to get on campus and just get in front of students in more ways, that's also what our office is here for. I'm not going to go into too much detail on each of these. Feel free to take a screenshot. I think Kevin shared it in the chat too. But we've got information sessions we can help you host, employer site visits, as long as you're not, in New Mexico or something like that. We can help you host some workshops on campus interviewing. We do have specifically space that our office is in charge of, where we can set you up, help you build the interview schedule, get students to you. It's a private space. So if you want to get on campus and kind of remove that barrier, we can help you organize those. We do offer pop-up recruiting or tabling here in the student union, set you up right outside of our office, no cost to you, usually during a high traffic time of day, right around lunch. And then you can try to interact with the students, get word out there, just kind of get some brand awareness for your company. In addition to that, there are digital ads available here in the student union. Now, that's not something our office facilitates, but I can get you in contact with the person who does it. So just another way that you'll have those ads constantly playing here in the student union, showing your position, your company, anything that way, if you want to get just some more eyeballs on you guys as an organization. And I think they've actually expanded those digital ads to the Wellness Center now too. So they're not only in the student union, they're also in the Wellness Center. So if that's something you'd be interested in, feel free to reach out. I can get you in contact with Jared, and Blueprint here is the one that kind of organizes that. So again, feel free to take a screenshot of this, take a look at it. If there's any ideas you have, different ways you're interested in getting on campus, things to organize, reach out. We're always open to try new things. And most of the stuff is at no cost to you too. So we want to get you in front of the students and kind of support you in that recruiting however we can. So with that, that's pretty much all I had for you guys. So
Thanks a lot, Jordan. All right, Becky, what are we doing next year? What's going on?
I'm excited to say that our handshake opens up for our fall fairs on July 15th at 8 a.m. So I'm hoping you'll mark your calendars and reach out. We've got 6 different fairs that we're offering next fall, which is on the next slide. So we're kicking off with the part-time job fair on September 2nd, followed by the College of Engineering fair on September 16th and 17th. We are changing it up. We've listened to our recruiters, and the College of Ag, Food, and Environmental Sciences fair is going to be just a one-day fair on October 7th with expanded hours from 10 o'clock in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. So based on last fall's student attendance, we've decided we're going to try a one-day fair again. And hopefully that helps those that are in the ag field who don't have to come to campus for 2 days and recruit students. So we're going to see how that works out. Our Management Economics Communications Fair, October 27th. The Graduate School Fair is October 28th. And we'll end our fall fair season with the Psychology, Sociology, and Criminal Justice Fair on November 4th. So hopefully that's a full gamut of fairs that will get you in front of our students here on campus. I think that's it for me, Kevin.
Great. Yep. Thanks, Becky. Okay, so I got super excited in the live polling part 1 session and blew through all of my questions. So we're going to skip right over this and head on into the Employer Partners Program information. So we are diving into our 2nd year of this formalized Employer Partners Program. With a $3,000 annual investment to our office, there's some specific benefits to that investment that you get. And I want to, in the chat, I'll share with you the link to our website so you can kind of see what the logos look like when they're on our website and information about being an employer partner. But I wanted to bring on, last year we launched this, and CHS jumped at the chance to partner with us and connect with us. So I wanted to bring on Kyra Anderson from CHS just to kind of talk about that. So yeah, I want to introduce her. Kyra, are you there?
Yeah. Hi, Kevin. How's it going?
It's going really well. So with this partnership, can you just sort of describe how that's felt maybe a little bit different than the regular sort of talent engagement that we offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So our team really utilized those 2 direct emails to the students. really strategically. So in the fall, we use them right before the career fair, letting them know we'll be there. And then I think we used it towards the end, wishing them like a, hey, congrats on finishing the semester. Make sure to check out our internships and opportunities there. And then in the spring, I think we only utilized it once, but I think it was a great connection. CHS has an energy brand, Cenex, which students don't usually correlate the two of us together. So it was great to, showcase our regional Cenex Super Bowl ad, there's the words, and just put them together like, hey, that's CHS and Cenex. It's cool that they can work together and do that. So that's really great for us to utilize that. We also utilized it. I used your office a lot, just reaching out to find out who teaches this, who can I get in contact to learn more about that. And I think it was a great tool for us to get the best talent. This summer, we're welcoming 25 SDSU interns, so I think that's a great showcase of what this opportunity can really do.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Kyra. And one of the things that I think I didn't really anticipate is with our partnership, just some of the ideas that we've been uh, shooting back and forth to each other about ways that we can engage with industry a little bit more, and even developing like an employer partners newsletter to provide some regular updates and things like that. So likely as we get into the second year of the partners program, this list of benefits will likely expand as well. So yeah, thanks so much, Kyra. Do you have anything else that you want to add?
Um, I guess the other thing I would like to add is that, a lot of students came up to me at the career fairs, even in the spring career fair, and said, "Hey, I see your logo around campus." I was like, "Yes, it's working. Great." So it's great that they're making that connection as well.
Yeah, yeah, great. Because we do add those logos to a lot of our promotional materials, so the logos do get spread across video boards on campus quite a bit, and in different areas. So yeah, all right. Well, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank
Appreciate it,
you.
Kyra. All right, so we're kind of coming to the tail end of our program here. Next steps, we are going to send a message out. So provide your email if you want to receive a follow-up message. It'll include the link to that public tableau, link to our talent engagement menu, a recording of the link to the recording of today's forum, live polling results, and I will spell polling correctly in the email. We just got the NACE job outlook data and salary survey data, so we'll include that article as well. NACE is the National Association for Colleges and Employers. Of course, information about becoming an employer partner, and then any that resource information from David about hiring international students. So, yeah, please include your email address if you want to be a part of that. With that, just a giant thank you. Thank you so much for connecting with us and being a part of the career development for students at South Dakota State University. It wouldn't be an official event if we didn't ask for some sort of feedback. So we do have a QR code. I would love it if you would scan that to fill out the feedback survey for us. Just gives us a little bit more guidance on how to tailor this event for in the future. And yeah, we do have some time. So if you do have any questions, feel free to pop those questions up in the chat or ask them directly.